Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line.
He can go as himself at Halloween, just dress up as a fool. Parents and members of the community tearing into Beto O'Rourke. I know it's Beto, but I don't care. For that staged performance this week, the Democratic candidate for Texas governor's outburst disrupting an official update on the Uvalde, Texas school massacre. Yeah, he wants to run the state. But Beto cannot seem to keep his own positions on guns quite straight. Here he is as a presidential candidate. Again, he's failed in 2019.
Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am, if it's a weapon that was designed to kill people on a battlefield. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Oh, Beto. Then this shift, sometime before April 1st of this year. His campaign website read, "We need to reduce the number of AR-15s and AK-47s on our streets." This after April 1st, it changed to, "I don't believe any civilian should own an AR-15 or AK-47. Jimmy Failla is host of Fox Across America on Fox News Radio. So what happened to Beto?
Beto, first of all, should stick to doing what he does best, which is losing elections. He's such a jackass.
Ooh.
So patently disrespectful.
That's an animal, so that works.
Thank you. It's and a Democratic one at that. It's so disrespectful to the parents in that moment, because you understand he's not showing up to a town hall where they're discussing constructive ways to deal with this.
No.
He's showing up to a briefing where people who have actually lost their children are getting those details. But Beto's act out is everything that's wrong with right now. People like Beto think it's more important to be seen than it is to be right. It was more important for him to go there and get that clicks. That's why he's, streaming dental visits. That's why he's flip-flopping on guns as opportunistically as he is. Look what you just showed us. When it was trendy, I'll take away the guns. Then there was a blowback, and he was like, well, all right, maybe hold on to a few guns. Now we're back to take away the guns again. He can't make up his mind because he's an inauthentic person. And that's why he keeps running and losing, and he will continue to run and lose.
Well, look, he knew what he was going to do. Somebody reportedly had saved a seat. He knew who was in that audience because you see who's all around you, and he didn't care.
Yeah, and that's who we're dealing with. But that's what people need to understand. At this moment, it belongs to parents. It belongs to kids. There is no world where you're sharing the grief of losing a child horrifically, and the floor is open to debate, to intrusion, to people talking, to people politicking. And if Democrats don't realize that, they're part of the problem. We can't, they say we got to come together. You can't come together. If we're sitting here to brief parents and show up to say you're all a bunch of murderers, that's, if you're throwing a party, you don't call people murderers on the save the date if you want them to RSVP yes. But that's what the Democrats are doing. But that's what they do. Hey, we got to have a conversation. So if all you white supremacists could just show up, I mean, it's disgusting. It's disrespectful and it's disgusting.
Squad member Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman of New York, went on a rant after the Uvalde, Texas massacre, blaming it and other school shootings on patriarchal values. In a video posted the day after the attack, here's AOC.
Check on the men in your life. Seriously. Because it just feels like there's very few role models and examples of people talking about this in healthy ways, especially as we try to evolve out of a world that is predatory on women, gay, non-binary, and trans people, because traditional regressive, patriarchal values. But there is such a thing as healthy masculinity that is not rooted in the subjugation of other people.
Jimmy.
It's such an outlandishly stupid quote. What's bad when Kamala wants the recipe for your word salad? She mixed in the patriarchy, the trans non-binary people. This is everybody working their own agenda. into this situation. They're trying to leverage the suffering, the pain people are feeling to advance what they want. This has nothing to do with trans or non-binary people. This wasn't motivated in that in any way. But if you're going to bash the patriarchy, we should acknowledge that that is peak AOC because it's so out of touch with the facts of the situation, and that when you look at the breakdown on these shooters, what do all of them pretty much have in common? There is no strong paternal presence in their life. There is no strong man in their house. 75% of all mass shooters come from a house without a dad. Okay, we actually need strong men. It's not about toxic masculinity. It's about strong men. This guy's not a strong man. He's not toxically masculine. He was bullied and couldn't take the bullying, so he shot up a school. That's not strength. That's weakness.
Look, when she speaks like that, I wonder who her audience is. Okay, she's not just broadcasting to no one.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that look like in politics? And maybe that's why the Democrats can't quite figure out what to do.
Yes.
Biden with Ukraine was all over the place until finally progressives quieted down, and so he had a plan, whatever that was going to do. But we need baby formula. We need gas prices to go down. Is her representation of the voice of progressivism an example somehow of why they can't even get it together?
You know what's it indicative of? It's indicative of the fact that they want to run on this in the midterms as opposed to solving it now. It is so spot on. But it's so true because it's so spot on with police reform. What did they do with police reform in the summer of 2020? They filibustered Tim Scott using what they describe as a racist relic of the Jim Crow South to kick it down the curb post-election. What are they doing? They're passing a watered-down version of his bill. This very much reads that way, and that's my fear. My fear is that when you hear things like trans and non-binary and the patriarchy and everything in between, it sounds a lot like 2022 to me, more than it sounds like right now. It sounds like the midterms.
Wow. All right. Jimmy Failla,
The best.
thank you, always. Whew. I'm sure I'll get a call for the donkey.
Oh, it was well-deserved. Beto can relax.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.